So yeah, I purchased the program on August 9th. That's when I signed up. And I started off on training the week after that. So started like on the 18th, I believe, of August. So yeah, it took me like 4 weeks to complete the training. But that was because I was working full time too and had a kind of a hectic schedule on my work front, so I couldn't actually take time off during the daytimes. So I had to arrange or find time after work and stuff. So it worked out well with the trainer, who was pretty accommodative as well. And so yeah, it was great. Finished the training in 4 weeks, pretty much. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we hear that. That's pretty typical. We recommend people do 2 to 3 sessions per week. Sometimes people are able to do a little bit more, but like you said, a lot of people have to do it less just because they've got a lot of other stuff going on. But hopefully we were able to be very flexible. That's one thing that we try to do, is accommodate people in their busy schedules and getting the training done, in their time, when they can do it. And because you don't want to overload yourself with too many sessions either. So
right. I took 2 to 3 sessions as well, and that worked well. So yeah.
So you got your certificate. You're a CMRM now. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
A lot of people will, put that on their wall and put it at the end of all their marketing materials, and pretty proud of that. So, if you don't mind, what was your business background and or work experience before you got into this?
Sure. So I'm basically a registered nurse, and I have worked at several hospitals, but then I was always business oriented, and I wanted to get away from bedside nursing and get into more on the business side. So I went to school to get my master's in business administration. And so once I graduated, I was actually hired by Cerner, and I've been with Cerner for 10 years now. So been working on the EMR side and kind of designing, development, implementation, and all kinds of things. Currently, I work on the revenue cycle management aspect for Cerner. So that's kind of where I am, and it seems to be a perfect segue to my next step, which is being part of this program.
Yeah, so obviously you were already kind of in the healthcare industry. So you were looking at the revenue cycle and understanding that, doctors really were kind of struggling with being able to collect their money, right? Is that the conclusion you came to?
Yes, that is correct. Especially in the revenue cycle department that I'm now, I'm on the reporting side, and so I see a lot of denial rates, and just the fact that claims get denied, and then it has to go through the queue and put that back through the whole process, and it takes a long time for clients to actually collect that money, and also most of it get adjusted or whatever, and so it really hits their bottom line, and it's pretty significant. So it's not a joke when we say that the denial rate is like 30% out there in the market. That is pretty true, and I see that firsthand. So yeah.
That's great to hear you say that, because there's a lot of people that think it's just the software number. Like, they think that just that rejection rate, through that software system is the only thing that matters, which it's actually not. There's a lot of other things to consider when the claims get sent in and then they get denied, and you have to figure out why and all this other stuff on the back end. So it's not all about that upfront, well, my system gets the same rejection rate that yours does. It's
correct.
There's more to it than that.
Yes.
Some people have a hard time understanding that concept, because it is kind of it's not an denial management is not an easy thing to explain or a job to do, but it's very, very needed. So you obviously identified there was a market for this, and even though that you were already kind of in that world, so to speak, you didn't feel like you had enough skill or education to start your own revenue cycle management business without somebody like us, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot more to actually start your own clearinghouse, for example. Partnering with a clearinghouse is a big deal. So coming up with, I work with Cerner now, so it's not like I have my private business. So to start something from scratch, I mean, I knew that it's going to take a lot more effort and a lot of investment towards that. But then coming up to be part of ABS, for example, where I liked what I saw, and that was one main thing that I thought that it kind of takes care of most of the issues that I've seen in the real world. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to go figure out a new system or a different EMR, or I mean, even the billing, just revenue cycle management suites. I could pretty much be part of this program and kind of make similar revenue, hopefully. So
Yeah.
those were my thoughts.
Yeah, we actually several years ago we had a CPA that went through our program and became one of our owners, and he said, you know what, I went back and I did the math and I created all these spreadsheets and I tried to figure out, what if I did this on my own? I mean, surely it's not that hard, and he said it came up to be that I would have spent about the same amount as the ABS investment or maybe even more. So it just didn't make sense to reinvent the wheel, so yeah.
Yeah.
So
absolutely agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say absolutely agree, because there's a lot more. It's just not maintaining and coming with a code or a process. It's like the resources that you would need as well, the hardware, and also people to actually manage that, get through the training, and all of that. So I think this is a good package when in comparison to that.
So tell me about the training. Was it what you expected? Was it more than what you thought? What did you think about the training session that you went through?
Sure. Training was pretty intense. There's a lot of information, and those are all relevant information. And outside of that, there was a lot of information that was new in terms of just the marketing strategies and kind of just looking at things in different angles. Like signing the NDA, for example, before talking to someone, the practice analysis model and stuff like that. So there was a lot of information that was that I had to pick up, including the systems, the products, the services. So it was intense. It was a great training. There was a lot of information, and it was well paced, I would say. The materials that we could take and look at on our side when I had some extra time helped as well. There were video recordings, which we could go back and listen to. So yeah, those were good. And just having the live session with Cynthia, the back and forth and having those questions answered, and her experience kind of just was great as well. I mean, getting to hear from her firsthand helped a lot as well.
Okay, so when training was done, you were introduced to our support team. You had an introductory call with our support VP of support. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
What was the transition from training to support? You feel like you were guided properly, and now you know how to get support easily?
Yes, that is true. Support has been very receptive. I mean, they're quick to respond. So I had questions, a few questions like login information when I started and I was not able to log in or whatever, those basic things. But then even as I was going through the training and after the training, to order some of the marketing materials that actually helped me. And so they've been very receptive. They've been quick to respond, usually same day if it is in the morning that I reach out, but if not, the next day. Yeah, I do have that information. So that's been great as well. Absolutely.
Great. So do you have a clear plan of action? Like, was that were you helped in creating that? And are you putting it into action right now? Like, do you have any prospects? Have you done any practice analyses yet? Where are you at?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't done any practice analysis yet, but I have done a demo to a warm market. I mean, pretty much a power partner. She's a medical rep, and she pretty much liked what I was presenting, and she suggested that she would get me in touch with a surgeon. And it's a practice, but apparently the surgeon is COVID positive, unfortunately. And
Oh,
so,
no.
yeah, so he's actually battling that. But as soon as he comes out of that, she said she will refer me to or introduce me to the office manager and the surgeon. She also mentioned they were onboarding 2 other providers to that department, to that practice. And so, yeah, that's one.
Nice.
I also have a doctor that I've been working with. So it's interesting, but she is COVID positive too. She has a different model. She follows like the DPC, pretty much like a primary care direct payment kind of a model, but she has got her family who follows a kind of model. She's following the same billing and revenue cycle process. So she responded saying that she should get back to me in a week after she's cleared up all these things. So I'm still waiting, but I'm planning to send my book out to her, my highlighted book. So that's my next step with her. And then I've been sending emails to my warm market, and that's where things are right now. I was also looking at the BNI, but I have identified a chapter, but I'm just waiting on that. But before I make that move, I want to kind of just narrow down on a few things that I have started.
You just recently graduated the training and you started putting into action the marketing methods that we taught you, and yes. It sounds like things are starting to happening.
Yeah.
Exactly
I'm getting some responses, so yeah, absolutely, I'm excited and just want to move this forward. Yep.
Yeah, you're actually giving away all of our secrets, power partners, books. I'm gonna have to edit this out. No, I'm kidding. No, actually, along those lines, like you mentioned COVID several times. So
yeah,
the majority of your marketing has been virtual, online, phone calls. Is that right? Or have you been going out and meeting with people?
It's interesting you asked. I have actually listed a couple offices, and I've got my marketing materials set in folders to actually pass it on and stop by the offices this week. But till now, it's been virtual, and my demos that I did or my presentation that I did was all virtual on Zoom, and it just worked perfect. Good response. I mean, she loved what she saw, and she works, around providers, and she's a medical device rep, so she's very familiar with the whole thing. So she was immediately she was just catching on to the whole concept, and she liked it.
That sounds like an excellent power partner, referral partner. That's great. So I mean, this business model is pretty good for pandemics and
yes.
Being virtual and mobile and very scalable, right?
Yeah, it is.
Do you have any just final thoughts for anyone who's exploring this opportunity and they're just not sure if it's going to be, because there's so many people that are just terrified of any kind of thought of marketing. I've never done billing, I've never been in healthcare. I mean, do you have any final thoughts there on that for somebody who's looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a separate kind of a business where if you have gone to the hospital at one point in your lifetime, whether for yourself or for your family or anybody, and if you've just noticed how things move, like you get an appointment, you sign your papers, and then see the doctor, and you get a bill and stuff like that, just a workflow. If you're familiar with that, I think you should be able to pick it up. You don't necessarily have to have a healthcare background, but if you do, that's awesome. That's great. I mean, I did speak to some of the references that you had provided, and that really helped. So, I mean, you need to be passionate about just starting something, owning, and it's like a baby. So, and I always wanted to have a business, and so I'm pretty excited about this. I mean, if you're looking for something like that, I would say this is an awesome opportunity, and I would really encourage that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your comments and your information provided there, Annie. Let us know if you need anything else. Stay in touch, and I look forward to interviewing again when you get your first client here very soon.
Sure. Sounds Please do. Thank you so much, Adam.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Bye.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.